Welcome everybody to Scarves and Spikes. I don't know if I'm still high on adrenaline. Did we win last night? Did we
What
win a
what what
game?
what even happened last night? I don't it's kind of a blur. I don't even remember. It's just what happened?
I still don't understand how this all happened. I mean, we were the biggest underdogs going into this game out of any game in MLS last night. No fan really thought that we were going to win this game. And if you did, you're lying. Kevin, I see you're in here. I know you made a bet for Atlanta United. That was just you being a sicko at this point. Atlanta United win 3-1.
Against who?
Against
Against who?
Messi. Against Messi and all the old
Messi.
timers.
Messi who? Messi who?
I mean,
Even though he scored a goal, Messi who?
that was a nice goal. That was a
It
nice goal.
was. It was.
Well, everybody, welcome to Scarves and Spikes. Henry and Tommy here. Sydney's out celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, Sydney. Jordan says, or someone actually gave us a water. Yeah, Jordan, do lots of water shots for us. Sydney, get some smart water. Maybe put a mixer in it. What's the little packets you put in water to make it tasty?
Like the Brio, what are those called? Like the flavor packets? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid?
Yeah, we can call it Kool-Aid. Yeah. Yeah, add a mixer into your water tonight. Put some Kool-Aid in, some cherry, whatever flavor you want. Put it in there. Enjoy your birthday. And Tyler's moving. So I don't know if I hope his back's okay. Because that's
Well,
the
as
first
long as
thing
he's
I
not
think
going
of.
to Ohio.
Why'd you have to get personal?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you live in Ohio. My bad.
I don't. Okay.
Nah, I hear Tyler's just staying over in around McDonough where he's living, so that's pretty all right.
Well, thank you to everybody that hung out last night on our YouTube watch along. It was a lot of fun. Thank you to the Atlanta United TV people that came on. Thanks to Danny from the Battered Herons, who was very sour about this game. He said something that was shocking, and there's an asterisk to this, but he said this was the first time Messi as a starter lost a game for Miami. He said the only other time it happened was the last game of the season, and basically they said he was just brought out like a mascot in that game because they didn't care if they won or lost because they were already out of the playoffs at that point. So, yeah, I mean that's a feat, right?
I think actually that stat was confirmed by Johannes Schneider, Atlanta United's communication coordinator. He tweeted that out. And then I think he also tweeted out the fact that, let me see if I can remember the stat correctly. It's the first time Messi has lost a game in which he has scored since 2021, where he was playing. I think he was still at Barca. It was a game against like Celta Vigo or something like that. This is the first time that since then when Messi has scored and his team is still lost. So we're breaking records all over the place here.
I mean, come on. We haven't gotten a win since Seattle last year, right? The summer, it was getting towards the end of summer that we got a road win. And you go to Miami, you play a rested Miami that looked exhausted at times, and you get the win. I don't get it.
With the context that you are in the middle of a 9-game winless streak after having lost like 4 in a row at home, right? And if you're like, that's the whole joke. Like, this team can't win a road game. You can only win at home. And then when you're not winning at home, you definitely don't expect to go to the Supporters Shield winners and win on the road there. I mean, you couldn't beat Chicago on the road, right?
No Sleesh.
No, yeah, without Sleesh, without Yakimakis.
Right.
And you still...
What happened? I still don't get it. I'm broken. I am broken in such a good way. Like, I woke up this morning, I was like, this is what it feels like to win a game? Like, it's been so long. It's been since Easter.
It's been
That was
since
the
like
last win.
March. Yeah, like the end of
Yeah.
March. It's crazy. Like two months, almost 2 months.
Yeah. Now, we made some changes in the lineup, right? Like we looked at the lineup and said, "Okay, this is interesting," right? So, I'll start there. What did you think of the lineup?
I thought it was interesting. Like when I first saw it and I saw it was a three at the back, I was kind of like, I think I don't know if I tweeted it out or if I put it in the Discord where I was like, haha, you can't beat him, join him, do a back three, see if that works. Um, it held pretty well. Having Wiley and Lennon as your kind of wing backs, I think that was very effective for this team. Dax, Dax was a machine in midfield. Like I got to give him credit. He put in the effort. Like uh, it's hard to say that anyone really had a bad game. Like, but going into it with that lineup, I was nervous. I was curious, but a bit nervous, and it ended up working out very well for this team because they played in a way that they're not used to playing. They're used to playing with the ball. They're used to playing a possession based model. They're used to having 50, 40, sometimes 60% of the ball. And still, this game, I think the possession split was like 55 for Miami, 44 for Atlanta. And so, like, it's the one game where you start playing against the ball rather than, with your possession game, you change that up and it works out for you, right? Because you're so good on the counter attack, right? And that's one thing that stood out to me was the fact that that's that's Tata's team. That's
Yeah.
Tata's Atlanta United, and you took Tata's Atlanta United and you played against Tata, and you win. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad it worked out, and I think the fans really deserved to see that after waiting for so long to see that this is what this team can do.
Yeah, and you look at it, so Gregerson and Williams, they started together game 1. They lose 1-0, only allow 1 goal, right? I mean, not too bad there. But then you go on and then you had back-to-back wins when they both started, right? 4-1 against New England, 2-0 against Orlando. Gregerson gets hurt in that game. Williams gets hurt a game or two later. Now this is your first game back with them both in the starting lineup, and you win again. So with those two starting, you are now 3-1. And during those games, let's count it: 1 goal allowed, 1 goal allowed, 0 and 1.
I
So
mean,
4
when
games, 3 goals allowed.
when your back line is solid, the rest of the team it is just much better because you have kind of the confidence that okay, the people at the back are going to get it done. And when you see uh, Gregerson and Williams, uh, how they defend, what they do, Gregerson was putting in some just impressive tackles, was just completely shutting down Luis Suarez whenever he had the ball. It was all over him. His height is a big difference too. There was a reason that Atlanta United was kind of falling behind in terms of aerial duels after Gregerson went down. It's because Gregerson, all like 6'2", 3, whatever of him, are so important for this team in the air. And Williams too. I mean, he was important there. I know there were a few times where like him and Gregerson had to like just basically fall onto Luis Suarez. There was this one play where Messi brings the ball down in the box, passes it to Luis Suarez, who has his back to goal, and then Gregerson and Williams are both there like anticipating, like on top of him. They're not waiting a second because they know that if you give Luis Suarez a space right there, he's going to turn and shoot on you. He's going to turn and score on you. So good on them for having the reaction time and the precision to not commit a penalty, because
Yeah.
very easily in those situations you could go in the wrong way and you foul Luis Suarez, it's a penalty. Or Luis Suarez will sell it also. He'll try to sell it. But no, they did it perfectly, clean tackle, and they were really good the entire night. So yeah, like I said, when your back line is solid, the rest of the team just has that much more confidence because you've got that foundation, and you don't need to worry about what's going on in the back line.
I hate Suarez so much. I really do. I just he complains so much, and it's the teeth. I think it's the teeth too. I mean, I got a big nose. I'll admit to it. I got a big nose. I get it. But man, it's just something about him. I can't. I just can't handle him at all.
My favorite thing is like one of these like YouTube videos of like the best like soccer chants in like England or something, and one of them's about Luis Suarez and his teeth being offside.
Someone made that joke last night on the watch along. But yeah, the team didn't seem starstruck, right? Last time they went into Miami, that was the League's Cup game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the entire team looked starstruck during that game, and it was completely different. This team came out, attacked, and I've watched some Miami games this year, and it's kind of followed the same script. Miami goes down 1-0, and then they wake up in the second half, right? But you get the Saba goal, right? Congratulations to Saba and Mrs. Saba on the baby. But I mean, for him, there's been a lot of Saba hate on the internet for a while now. And before this real bad stretch, I mean, he had quite a few chances to score goals and just miracle saves here and there that, probably should have gone in. Probably should have at least 2 more goals than what he has on the season. But nobody was stopping that first shot at all.
It was perfect. It like curled right into the top corner. Like no one's getting there. Absolutely no one. It was beautiful.
I didn't think it went in. Like there was like when both Saba goals went in, I felt like I was just watching it and being like, that didn't go in, right? And then I see everyone's hands up because it didn't seem like this was gonna to be a thing here. And you're up 1-0, and then you're going in to the second half, and you're thinking, all right, when is this gonna turn on? When is Miami going to just go Miami mode here and score 3? Right? Like that's what I was thinking. And I texted my buddy Danny and Chris, who do the Batter Herons podcast, and I said, "How you feeling?" This is what we're always at. I'm not worried at all. Then the second goal came in. He still seemed pretty calm about it. And then what happens right away? He said, "We're going to score." Messi scores, and now
Yep.
it's 2-1. And when I saw that, I thought, "Oh no, here it comes. It's going to be nonstop attack for the next however many minutes it was left." Because you look at the bench and you don't see too much defensively that you could bring on there. Without Sleesh, I mean, you got Fortune in there. Not a ton of experience. I mean, he's still young, coming in there. I mean, usually you'd have Dax maybe coming in here in this in this situation. He's not. He's already out there, so you don't have that there. And like this is going to be a problem here for a little bit without him. But it was what are we going to do here? And everyone came in, and I know people were a little. I saw the complaints about Mascara coming in over Silva because I think with Silva defensively, he's much better than Mascara, right? Do you agree? Disagree?
Sure. Sure. I mean, I'd have to look at the numbers. I feel like what Mascara gives you is the fact that he has that hustle to get back and defend after he's gone up and you're on a quick turnover. Like he'll get back and help you defend in those moments. Silva, sure, I think to a lesser extent than Mascara. I also feel like Silva has that first instinct of get the ball and try to do something with it, which to be fair, that's also kind of been Mascara's instinct. But Silva's has led to more immediate turnovers from what I can remember. And so in that sense, I think it was okay to bring Mascara on, especially because Mascara is faster than Shande Silva. And I think at that moment, what you needed was someone to really pin Inter Miami's fullbacks so that they couldn't exactly commit themselves forward the attack too much, even though they had to because they were behind, I believe, 2 goals at this point
Yeah.
in the game. You know, they still have to go forward, but you can't leave Mascara alone for a second because you give him space and he does what he did in that game and he kind of dribbles, he gets into the box, can't shoot, but I mean, he'll scare you at least. Um, but yeah, I think and yeah, I mean it's the wingers. It's not their primary objective to defend, as someone pointed out there. But still, I mean, when you are ahead and you're trying to close out the game, you definitely do want kind of that defensive coverage. Um, but yeah, also on Mascara, since we're on that topic, I believe I put this in the Discord, but I firmly believe that if Mascara could actually finish, he'd probably be playing in Europe by now because
Yeah.
he is so talented. He has so much just raw talent and his ability to dribble, his confidence, his speed. If he could freaking score, he'd be amazing.
And we saw that a few times last season, right? Towards the end, I mean, it seemed like he was really putting it together. And unfortunately, coming into this year, it kind of seems like he's started all over on where he is. I mean, some of the dribbling's been some issues. The finishing hasn't been there. I mean, he had a couple opportunities. He could have had 2 goals there in the last 2 minutes. There was one play though I remember specifically, and I think it was Almada ended up going in, and he had a bad shot on the keeper, but like Mascara just stopped. Like he could have kept running. Like he passed it, I think, to Almada, and then he just stopped running. He just stood there, and go help the guy out, man. Like I don't know if he just got really tired or froze, but I mean, we were all screaming, like, "What are you doing?
He came into the
Move!"
game. He like you just got subbed on and you're tired. I don't. I personally I don't buy that one. I think he just kind of thought his job was done there. I don't think he was tired necessarily. Um, but yeah, there was also another very good play from him where he was carrying the ball down the right side, and then he saw Jamal Tiare making a run, and then played a beautiful through ball to Tiare, who just, you know, he's able to cut past one defender, and then his shot is just wide. Like that deserved, for me, that deserved a Mascara assist. That was a beautiful play from him. Full credit for that.
And you say Tiare. I mean, he scores the 3rd goal, and it's been an interesting pickup because I think a lot of people gave up on him immediately. Last year he had the concussion, right, and then he missed some games, and then he comes in here, gets hurt again. But you got Rios and Tiare right now, and that's big. Like you haven't had a second striker in years, right? Since like 2018, and now you've got a second and a third that can go out there and score. It's a nice thing to have, and it's weird to have it. It's weird to have nice things on this team when you know that you've dealt with a Kubo and all the other names. Adam, Johnny, still hate you. But yeah, like it's so nice to be able to see having depth here, and who knows if Yakimakis. I mean, ignoring the transfer rumors here, which with the rumors, Cruz Azul's still making offers here. What's going to happen? I don't think it's the end of the world if you have these 2 guys. If you do move on from them to be able to find a replacement, it's not ideal, but at least you got 2 guys here who have been able to score in multiple games, right? So it's not just a 1-game wonder here. Like what we had Cisneros have the hat trick against Chicago, and then it was like pretty much after that it was you never saw him again. Like
Yeah.
these guys are doing the things that they need to do. And now you go into the next game, and now you're hoping that you're going to be able to get Yakimakis back for. I don't know. I don't know how they baby him here through this injury, because it seems like they've been doing that with everyone, really taking care of the player to make sure they're fully up and going. Almada had an appearance and then started. We'll see what happens with Yakimakis here, but since it was probably a little bit more serious, maybe they let him play 45, let him play 40, or not. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
I'd say
guess we'll see.
it's probably more likely to be closer to like 50 or 60. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just a tough thing with Yakimakis because like he's a fantastic player when he's healthy and when he can play for you, but he comes back from one injury and then he gets injured again, and so now you're wondering kind of, you know, how long can you really keep him on the field for? And I think that's where some people are saying, you know, hey, maybe it's not the worst idea if he leaves and you get someone who maybe has a better track record with staying healthy, can be there more consistently for you. I mean, if Cruz Azul offers like what, like 8, 10 million, I mean, that's already much more than what Atlanta paid for Yakimakis. And you can go out and there are some interesting options. I mean, LAFC got Giroud. His national team teammate Antoine Griezmann is out there for 15 mil, is the rumor. I'm just saying that's it's not a totally impossible thing to get. Even though this team usually hasn't been about this club hasn't usually been about getting kind of the big names. um, that's a solid option. There are others. I mean, it's not necessarily a Yakamakis or bust sort of thing. Um, and if the team really is considering these offers, they definitely have backups in mind that they have, without a doubt, you know, scouted, really really looked at, and that they know, okay, if Yakamakis ends up leaving in the summer, this is who we're bringing in to replace him, right? So in that sense, I think Atlanta United will be fine. Um, but yeah, I going back to kind of your original point, it is great to have depth, to start to have depth at these positions, because um, you're still in Open Cup, you got Leagues Cup coming up, you've got the league, um, you know, you got to be able to spread your resources across kind of everything that's happening, um, and also injuries that'll come up. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it's a valid point. Depth is something that this team has been missing for good depth has been a thing that this team has been missing for a while.
Yeah, and Josh Cohen, like we got to give him a shout out as well.
Yep.
I mean, another solid performance by him. We left this game,
Tommy, wait,
and
before we move on, quick
yeah,
question. Against Charlotte, Cohen or Guzan?
who do I want or who I think?
Who do you want? Let's do that.
I like to see more Josh.
So if it were up to you, like Pineda gives you the lineup card, you put Josh Cohen instead of Brad Guzan.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think there's a wrong answer because I've seen people turn on Brad, and it's not like he's had a bad season, right? And that was, I guess, my comment I made the other day was like, what if you run into a scenario where you're out of the playoffs, right, at the end of the year, and this is Brad's last run, but you got a guy here that's going to be starting for you likely next year. How do you like? What do you make that decision? Sorry, Brad. I know it's your last year, but you're not going to be able to play your last 3 games while we get the new guy ramped up. Maybe you could play the finale. I don't know. Like that's a hard decision to make, right? Because I don't know.
I
When
mean,
you
they
got a
didn't
guy
start
like Brad
Joseph
that's
in his
played.
finale.
Oh God, don't start that.
Sorry,
Please don't start that. That
I
was
had I had
like
to
the
bring it up.
biggest. That was like one of the biggest gates of like Atlanta United, right? Everybody was
Joseph
like,
Gate.
"Yeah, oh my gosh, you're not starting him here. You guys don't respect a club legend." Ugh, that was a terrible day.
I mean, I think if Atlanta United are out of the playoffs and there's literally nothing to play for, I think they do give Brad that, at least just kind of out of respect. Um, I would think so. I think Josh Cohen, assuming he is the one that's starting next season, he'll have his whole preseason to ramp up. I think you don't necessarily need him ramping up like months ahead of the season starting. I think they'd give it to Brad.
I wouldn't mind having see him play this game before the break, and then maybe get Brad back in there. I don't know, but it's gonna be Guzan. It's gonna be Guzan 100% on Sunday, and then
But
we'll see
Captain
Josh
Almada
again.
goes hard though. Captain Almada goes hard. That was insane.
Yeah,
But also partially the fact that he got rest, which is something that he's really needed. I think Gonzalo
for a
Pineda
while. Yeah,
mentioned this. Gonzalo Pineda mentioned this in one of the press conferences. But the idea is to give Almada some sort of break, and well, he had one due to the injury he took in I believe was it the Nashville game, or was one of the games? I don't even remember which one.
when he got
Nashville,
hurt,
right? Yeah,
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Okay, well, that game. Um, it proved to be kind of a blessing in disguise because Almada really did need the break, and he comes back. He's super re-energized, and he's doing the Almada things that we know and love of him. So yeah, I mean, he was fantastic in this game. Like that that is the MVP caliber player that I think a lot of us expected him to be for most of this season. And I think mental exhaustion was what was keeping him down. If he can keep this going, I mean, I think Atlanta's in a very good spot. The team in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's been his best game in a long time, right? I mean, there are a couple moments where he didn't move on off the ball, or didn't pass probably when he should have on a few opportunities. I know Bo's probably listening somewhere and going, "He's playing hero ball. He's playing hero ball." I mean, I'm okay with that when it's working, and if it's not, then he's got to know that he's got to pass, right? He's got to be able to do that, and he was great. I mean, it was his best game since a little bit after Leagues Cup, right? I think he started. You talk about the mental exhaustion. I could see that in some of the games at the end of the year, like as you got towards the playoffs, right? Like, guy didn't even remember he had a yellow card in that game. And then the playoffs, he wasn't great in there. He had an okay home game there, but I mean overall it was just he just didn't look like himself, right? And then he goes, and he's going to the qualifiers to start the year, and then he comes straight in here, and he's exhausted. So that's good for sure. The question is he going to be here in after the summer? And that's the big question. Are they going to hold on to him or not? They try to make a run in the playoffs here. Do you try to move on? Like, are there players available in this window that you would like to replace him with? If there is, then maybe it makes sense to move on here. I don't know. There's a lot of questions. There's more questions than answers I think that we have right now. Because the other part here, I know we're not going to go too long today, but people in the spaces were saying, well, what does this do for Gonzalo Pineda now? What's the situation here? Because he just won a game that nobody expected. Your biggest road win since last year, since your last road win, right? No one expected us to go into Seattle, especially after bombing out a Leagues Cup, to win in Seattle, and we did. Now you're in this situation here where you went through a terrible stretch of games. You get this win, and now you have a game against Charlotte here where I think most people thought that Pineda was gone either today or Monday. Like, I think that was most people's thoughts is it's just a matter of time. You're if whether I mean, I think everyone expected pretty much to lose to Miami, and then win or lose against Charlotte. It's just time to move on at that point. Well, now you get the win in Miami, which was unexpected. Now you're going to home against Charlotte. Does winning against Charlotte buy Pineda more time?
That's a difficult question. I mean,
That's why I asked it.
yeah. I mean, look, this Miami win, as amazing amazing as it feels, does does absolutely nothing to move Atlanta United up in the standings because they're still 12th. 16 points, you're still 12th, and you are, I believe, 3 points off of the ninth place play-in spot, and you are 8 points. No, I'm bad at math. 6 points below the seventh place, like the last direct qualification playoff spot, right?
Right.
You're going to need much more than just this win to make the playoffs. You're going to need a hell of a lot more if you're going to meet the expectations that this team, that this front office placed for this team ahead of the season, which was like, top four, get a home playoff spot, right? If you get this Charlotte win, that moves you a bit closer, I suppose. It's a 6-pointer for sure because Charlotte's the one sitting at that seventh spot, and you have a game in hand over them. So, I mean, that's a big game. But in terms of for Pineda, I don't, I don't know. I mean, I think the decision is kind of already made. Maybe, perhaps. I don't know. I think there's a valid question that you could ask just seeing kind of the way this game rolled out, and does this result speak more about how Atlanta played better than Miami, or is it a little bit more of Miami, not playing as well as they could against Atlanta? I feel like at least on the two Saba goals, they gave him so much space. Like they did not really close him down much. And he was able to get much closer to the goal than you know maybe other teams might have let him. Um, you're playing against a midfield that has Sergio Busquets running around on like one leg, which he's still a fantastic player, evidenced by the assist that he got on Messi's goal. But he's nowhere near as mobile, which made it easier for this team to play through him and the rest of that midfield. Um, and yeah, I mean, full credit to Pineda for the tactical change, but I feel like why did it take so long to try this? Is my thing. Like, why did it take so long to decide? Yeah, this possession game isn't working. You've lost against back threes for so long. Like, now is the point where you try kind of this different setup where you're playing against the ball, you're playing the counter-attacking soccer that has seen this team succeed in the past. I don't know. And also the other thing that I was kind of thinking of is if you want to send a message to the league that you are ready to really, really compete, that you really are coming back, hiring one of the high profile managers that are on the market right now, Marcelo Gallardo, Xavi, or really anyone that's like there are so many options that you have right now. Like hiring any one of those, convincing them to come to Atlanta and bringing another coach of that Tata level to come coach Atlanta United, that's game on. You're telling the league like, we're serious about this. We're making a push, right? So that's kind of the opportunity that you have if you do choose to pull the trigger. Now, once again, I mean, I have defended Pineda a lot. I like the guy. Guy's, a fantastic person. And if this team can see success under him, I'm 100% all for it. But I don't know. Like, it's not just about this game. It's about the games that come after. And this summer is full of a lot of tough games where, after the Charlotte game, you lose Saba for, however far Georgia goes in its Euro campaign, right? You have some road games to RSL and LA Galaxy coming up in the summer, two of the best teams in the West, right? Can you, are you going to be able to make things happen there? You lose Almada and Wiley for the Olympics. You lose Noah Cobb now for some youth national team games. I don't even remember when they are, right? So these are all things kind of to take into account. And you got a big summer coming up where you got decisions that have to be made. So I don't know. If you ask me, I think he's still probably gone after the Charlotte game, despite the result, regardless of the result.
I think I agree with you. You know, unless there's it's some crazy 5-1 win or something like that, I just don't see it. Unless they have obviously someone in mind, right? That they're negotiating with somebody or they're talking to someone behind the scenes. I guess I don't know how that works and how you sneak around with that, right? Because obviously that's a uncomfortable situation when you've already got a current manager in. But obviously Garth and Carlos are doing that. If they're not doing it, they're not doing their jobs. Going and looking to see who's available, and maybe having some quiet conversations with someone. But yeah, I mean, I joked around on the watch along. Like someone said, "What would you bet if Pineda's still here next year?" And I said, "Oh, I'd shave my eyebrows off. I'm not doing that no matter what happens here." But there's just no way that Gonzalo Pineda is going to be here next season. There's just no way at all,
You got to
right?
be careful with your wagers, Tommy.
I know. Well, and then I think Bo in our Discord, I think he was the one last night,
He posted the
like put it,
picture.
yeah, with no eyebrows.
I saw
And
that.
yeah, well, I heard my wife upstairs hearing us talk about it, and she freaked out and just said, I will make sure when I sent the picture, the dry spell that would ensue cannot be understated with 2 cactus emojis. Seriously, cannot. So yeah, that's not going to work out well.
Yeah.
Dan says, I don't know that Pineda side can see possession. It's just Miami is that good. The thing about playing for counterattacks, it requires quick thinking instead of the longer time to think win.
I mean, I just feel like this team was faster in transition, and
Oh yeah, for
having
sure.
having an Almada, arrested Almada, really helped you because especially, and I think that's really exemplified kind of in the last two goals, right? Saba's second goal, um, Almada gets the ball in his own half, dribbles around like three or four Miami players, and plays a beautiful ball over to Lennon, and then you start that kind of sequence that leads to the goal. But his ability to kind of do, he's tried that several times this season, and it hasn't gone well. It usually it goes poorly either when he starts trying to dribble past around 3 to 4 players, or when he tries to play a long ball and accidentally like crosses it to the opponent. Um, but he got both of those right. And then the last goal, the third goal, Tiare's goal, his ability to just like dribble a bit and then see Wiley's overlapping run, play it into him for Wiley's cross. That is just that's quick thinking. That is awareness, and that is something that he's mostly kind of been missing for this season. So it's good to see that he has that back. And yeah, I mean, maybe it wasn't Pineda's explicit instruction to like hey guys, give them the ball and let them come to you. Probably that is kind of just how the game, shook out to happen. But I think this team, for the most part, without possession, they managed, and in my opinion, even played better than when they play a possession game.
So when I asked you, yeah, I think he's definitely going to be. I do think that ultimately, if I had to put money on it, that he's not here um, after Sunday. Monday, we probably hear something. But I don't know. I mean, crazier things have happened. But I think it's easier to be out on the market, talking to other coaches, and not having to, when you're dating, it's much easier for you to go flirt with others when you don't have a significant other, right? It's much easier. You don't got to sneak around there, and then people know and they come to you. Same situation in a coaching search. Like teams could be reaching out to you, and maybe some agents are already reaching out to Atlanta, knowing of what the situation might be. But I think it's easier, and you don't want that leaked. You don't want people knowing out there that you're looking for someone while you have someone. So maybe that just opens it up because like you said, there are managers available left and right. So why don't you just kind of open this process up sooner than later? Because you don't want to waste a season. And I think we keep saying that. You don't want another wasted year. And yeah, we've said it, like the standings, it's going to be rough, right? You win this huge game and you look at the standings and you don't move up. Like that's frustrating right now. Bonnie says Cohen for life.
I mean, yeah, it's this gives you a chance to kind of bring a breath of fresh air into this team, right? Like just change things. And if you get like one of those higher profile coaches, it's a morale boost for the fans and for the players. I mean, if these players end up, let's say, like my dream scenario is like Xavi Hernandez coaches Atlanta United, which it will only happen in my wildest dreams. But if it ends up happening, like heck yeah. Um, but like imagine a coach of that profile, walking into the locker room, bringing his immense experience at the professional level, at the professional European level, right? Champions League level. Like that fills you with some like courage, right? As a player, that's got to lift you up. Like knowing that this guy knows what he's doing, right? Took Barcelona to win La Liga last season. They made a run in Champions League um, this year, like that kind of thing. And then there were plenty of other candidates that could definitely make a mark on this Atlanta United side. And I think if you do that ahead of a summer where you're going to have DP rule changes and you could potentially get 2, 3 new DPs, as weird as that sounds, you could totally, there's a lot of space to change between this transfer window and the next transfer window, and this Atlanta United team could look very, very different. I think this is probably the perfect time, especially because your next game after Charlotte is in 12 days. You have even more time for whoever the next guy is to kind of, get to know the team, to start implementing kind of their vision. Um,
You do have a lot of guys gone though during that
you
time.
do have a lot of guys gone. Well, let's count. How many people are gone after Charlotte? Saba's gone. Swish is already gone. It's Cobb and Wiley going too, right?
Yes.
Cobb and Wiley. Does Abram leave for Copa? No, Abram doesn't leave for Copa America left yet, right?
No.
No, he sticks around for a little bit. You still got Abram. I mean, you're still missing like 3 or 4 players, but
I mean, it's not the end of the world.
it's not the end of the world. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. But I mean, I think no matter what, Monday, it's just we're gonna just keep refreshing Twitter nonstop to see what happens. Real quick, we got to wrap it up. But talking about Charlotte, I know that they've been playing better, right? They're up in the standings. They are currently
7.
6 points ahead of you.
Yep.
Right? So this is a game where obviously you can catch up on a team to get you, close to the playoff line if you can. And looking at Charlotte's results, they have not scored more than 2 goals in quite some time. They have not scored 2 goals in a game since May 4th. Since then, they won 1-0 against Nashville, 1-0 against Chicago, 0-0 against the Galaxy, 0-0 against Philly, and then they lose 3-1 last night against the Red Bulls. They're not scoring a lot, but a couple decent scoring teams, they've held them to nothing as well.
Yeah, I mean their top scorer has like 3 goals, so it's not like they're not scoring a whole bunch of goals, but they are kind of keeping solid at the back. Obviously, able to contain some of these more prolific attacking sides. Interesting thing is that all time Atlanta United versus Charlotte, they are 2-2. Charlotte has won 2. Atlanta has won 2. Each winning, 1 home game and 1 away game, right? So
yeah, they've
yeah.
the first year they both won their home games, I think.
Yep.
And then
Last year
they
away
both won
games.
the away games.
And so here's the thing, right? You are coming off this massive win. You're bringing the momentum of beating Messi and co. I feel like there's no way this team doesn't win on
Oh,
Sunday.
never start. No,
Oh,
learn from me, young one.
learn from you.
You started the sentence
I
exactly
I
how I
I
start
am
all of mine.
I am stubborn. I'm gonna say it. There is no way this team doesn't win on Sunday. I feel like there is too
You
much
want to bet that
momentum.
beard?
Sure, sure. I'll bet what little I have. I'll bet the beard. But but I just feel like you have this momentum going into this game. You have the motivation of, okay, now it's time to bring a win to our fans in our stadium, right? You don't want to lose a fifth. Oh God, here come the memes. You don't want to lose a fifth consecutive home game, right? You've already gotten the hard win. Get the not as hard win, the one that we didn't think would be as hard to win, right? And Charlotte, obviously, we've you already touched on the fact that they have managed to keep some of these better scoring. I'm not dyeing my hair. um, have they managed to keep kind of some of these higher scoring sides at bay? Um, but I still think, like, if you know if this team comes out to play the way they did against Miami, I feel like there is there is just no way that this team loses.
Kevin wants you to do the Joseph eyebrow lines.
Is that like the three things? Like, how
Yeah,
many was it, three or two? I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
Like, have
You,
someone
you
send
can
me a
pick the line.
picture.
You can pick how many goals Atlanta United allow if they
Is
lose.
that is that
Is
how
how
many
many lines?
lines?
Yeah, that's how many lines you'll
I
have in your
concede
eyebrow.
10. My eyebrows are just gone.
Are you done with school for the summer?
I am, fortunately.
No, see, you don't have anyone to impress anymore.
Gee, thanks, Tommy.
Did you go to prom yet?
Prom. Are we talking about this? Atlanta United is not losing. Okay, let's just that's the end of that segment. Do goal
Omar's got a good
differential.
point here. Goal differential is how many lines you're gonna have in your eyebrows. This could be fun.
Oh God.
All right, so you say there's no way that they lose. So what
Okay, you
is
want my
your
score
predicted
prediction?
score?
My prediction. I'm
Oh
gonna
wow, you
say
look like you're gonna come up with some spicy.
I'm gonna say 3-1. 3-1. I'm gonna say 3-1.
Two
Atlanta.
back-to-back 3-1 wins.
Yep. You come
Wow.
you go back to the Benz after this win. You're bringing a win back to the fans. That's what I think, and it's going to be a big win too. Against your rivals, has to be a win.
So you're saying that Atlanta United is going to get back-to-back 3-1 wins, and Charlotte's going to get back-to-back 3-1 losses.
Yep. Poetry, right?
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to say 2-1 Atlanta.
Okay, that's fair.
I think that they have to at this point. You know, I know that this game, right? Again, because most people were assuming it was going to be a disaster.
Myself included.
I
I
was
think I predicted like 5-0 or 5-1.
I predicted 3-0. You, I expected the Bens to be hostile, very hostile here. Now that's not the case. You have this big win here. I think the crowd's going to be electric. It's a Sunday game, afternoon, well, late afternoon. I
4:30.
think
I
the
mean,
crowd's going to be hot for this one.
yeah. It's a 4:30 game, so it's a good time for people, really. Like, much better than like a 7:30 game. But yeah, I feel like there's going to be people. They're going to be pumped. I feel like now you kind of feel like anything can happen if you can beat, you know, Miami. So I totally agree. That's why I say, like, this isn't going to be a loss. This won't be a loss.
Why don't you say draw? Do you think? I mean, just say it's got to be a win.
It's got to be a win. Fine, I'll say it. This
Okay.
has to be a win.
Yeah, Bonnie brings up, you know, when these two teams get together, Anton walks. I mean that makes every one of these games emotional. From there, and these games have been good. I mean, we've had some really good games. You know, that first year, you know that game at the Benz where Atlanta scores the winner, and you see the entire Charlotte team just fall down in exhaustion. And then you have the game last year where Caleb Wiley on the wing just had an absolute great game. I don't remember the game. Oh, didn't Justin Miram score against us?
When they played here last year, yeah.
Was it 2 goals?
Yeah, he scored a brace.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, now I remember that game. Yeah, I mean we'll see. I mean, this is going to be an interesting week for Atlanta United. You're going to have more Yakimakis rumors, I'm sure. I mean, the rumors are they're throwing offers in. If they make an offer that Atlanta United likes, I don't think that I'm that upset if that goes. But you're on Yakimakis watch. You are now on Pineda watch still, right? I think we both agree that this doesn't change much in the overall grand scheme of things. So you're going to be looking out for that. I think we just get a nice break for a little bit. It's been a long, long month of May. A very long month. Emotionally on the fans, right? You've had Open Cup. I mean, that game was 120 minutes of something. And you have everything else that you've had to deal with. I mean, having this Miami win was great. And I want to feel this feeling again, throughout the entire international break. I would like to be able to say, hey, things are getting a little bit better. Let's see what happens. So we'll see.
Champions League on Saturday. Who do you have? Both Champions Leagues, actually.
Honestly, I haven't even thought about it. I was so deep into that Manchester United Man City matchup that like after that I was like, it's over. Like I just don't care about anything else after this. But then I kind of felt the same way as I felt yesterday. I was like, oh my God, is United thinking about keeping the manager
Ten Hag?
longer? No, I don't think so. But man, like I felt I walked out of that game yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I feel the exact same way as I did then. Yeah, we won, but oh no, what's going to happen here long term?
Yep.
I don't think they do. Well,
does
who you
winning
got?
the FA Cup, does winning a cup against Man City save Ten Hag?
I mean, winning U.S. Open Cup, I don't think would save Pineda.
There you go. There's your answer.
So who do you think? Who do you got?
So UEFA Champions League. My heart, I'm rooting for Dortmund, but I think it's going to be probably a 3-1 Real Madrid win. And then CONCACAF, I'm thinking it's because they're playing in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. But Columbus did go and win in Mexico in the semis.
Has there been Cucho things today?
Someone was putting I think they were just saying that Cucho's expected to start in the final. That's pretty much it.
Okay, because I know he was hurt.
Yeah, I don't think.
But then there's been rumors. I mean, I don't know if he's showing up in rumors. I mean, he posted a picture today. Him.
I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any Cucho rumors. I'm gonna say 2-1 Pachuca.
I think Columbus wins.
How? Score, I mean.
2-0.
2-0?
Yeah.
Solid. I think Pachuca's just a good team, and at home they're probably going to make it tough for Columbus, but I certainly think Columbus has a chance.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that game goes to penalties. Actually, I wouldn't.
That'd
be
fun. But I mean, look at what Columbus has done over the they went on the road last game, and then last year Cincinnati. You win in Cincinnati to go to MLS Cup and to host it like in the dramatic fashion they did. Nancy can get this team going. I mean, he's an intense guy. Like when you hear him talk, but man, like I'd play for I think any person on that team would be like, yeah, this is our coach, and I want this. I said to Tyler when we were there, I'm like, we need someone like this in Atlanta United. And again, nothing against Pineda. like Pineda, but I think it's just time for a change. And, I do think Pineda is going to get a chance somewhere else, and it might work out for him. But with his first coaching job, it was okay.
Yeah.
He was good for what we needed at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. Next week is gonna be a very interesting time to follow Atlanta United. We'll see.
For sure. Well, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back. I don't know when. Probably Wednesday, I think, next week. Talk about the Charlotte game. Anything else that could potentially happen. We'll give updates on Giakoumakis, Pineda, all of that. And then we got a nice little break. Hopefully, everybody can get healthy. And Williams and Gregerson play every single game for the rest of the year. If we can get that, I think we're in good shape. But again, happy birthday, Sydney. Mix that Kool-Aid up with that water. And Henry, thanks for hanging out tonight. I messaged you late and said we should do something for this. I feel like we needed it. And here we are.
Yeah. No, it's a pleasure, man. Always enjoy talking with y'all. With you.
Yeah, just me.
Just you for now.
Me. Yeah. Well, I've never actually hit these buttons before for the outro. Like, that's what I meant. Like, I had to. So if everyone's going on YouTube, like, we have all these great graphics. It's always Sydney. Like, Sydney makes all these cool graphics, and me, I'm like just struggling. I'm like, how the hell does he do this? So I just put a picture of us celebrating from the game. So I am sorry to let everyone down on that, but I think if I hit this button, okay, we're halfway there. We're halfway there. Now let's just see here. I'm not gonna screw this up. All right, you ready? Nope, that was the pre-match one. Nope. Got that one wrong.
Not gonna screw this up. Immediately screws it up.
I mean, yeah, I didn't think it was gonna be that, but yeah,
that's fine.
Thank you to everybody. Obviously on Patreon, we're gonna get a watch along here coming up. I think it's gonna be the DC game this year, or this month, or next month. Whatever, man. We gotta
one
get
of these
June.
Months. Yeah.
Yeah, one of these months. We gotta get to June. But yeah, have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you on Sunday.
See y'all.
See you.